Hi everyone, Petrik. So for today's video, this will be about 10 series that I read because of Booktube. And also, I guess this is kinda like a way of saying, can you trust Booktube? And this is from my experience. I think just like every other social media, whether you are on Goodreads or maybe on Twitter or TikTok or maybe on YouTube, I think when it comes to recommendation, you must know the person's taste first. The person who is recommending the books to you, you must know their taste first and see whether they align with you or not. I know that should be obvious, I guess, but sometimes it's worth reminding that at the end of the day, whether it's my recommendation or other booktubers' recommendation, they are still, well, opinions. It is opinions. Sometimes they align with you, sometimes they're not. And for today's video, I'll be talking about my experience. For example, for the first 5 series that I will be talking about, these are from 2016 and 2017. And back then, I still, well, let's just say that I'm still a newbie. Back then, I was still a newbie when it comes to reviewing books and also trying to kind of filter the recommendations that fits to my reading taste more. Because back then, I still haven't read too many fantasy novels. And then after that, I'll be talking about 5 series I read because of Booktube, and that's only after I started having a Booktube channel. And then I think you can see the difference. So let's talk about that, okay? The first 5 series I'm going to mention here, as mentioned, these are from 2016 and 2017 from my experience. So back then, I was still very early in Goodreads. I started using Goodreads on September 2016 after all. And I use YouTube as well to search for book recommendations. And the first one, and you can actually check my Goodreads history here, and you can see that Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. Yeah, Leigh Bardugo, the Six of Crows duology was the series that I read after I finished reading Mistborn trilogy by Brandon Sanderson. And that's because of Booktube. So many people, so many recommendations on Booktube mentioned that Six of Crows duology is an amazing series and it's supposed to be suitable to those of us who like reading heist fantasy novels. And well, considering that Mistborn, especially the first book, The Final Empire, it consists of a heist element, of course, I wanted to try reading Six of Crows duology, and that's what I did. I read the Six of Crows duology, and overall, I cannot deny that it was an engaging reading experience, but I did not feel too thrilled about the entire reading experience. It's still overall a good reading experience. I still gave the first book, Six of Crows, I think it was a 3.5 stars, and probably the second book as well, The Crook Kingdom. But I did not feel bored reading it. It was overall a really engaging reading experience. So that's not a big minus, I guess, in my reading experience of the Six of Crows duology. It's not a big minus, and I guess I must thank Booktube of it. But it's not a favorite. It's definitely not a favorite books of mine. And then after that, I also tried reading Vicious and the Shade of Magic series by V.E. Schwab because of recommendations from Booktube. Now, this is a bit tricky because when it comes to Vicious, I actually really like reading Vicious. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, V.E. Schwab is for the adult books by the author, but Victoria Schwab is for the YA books. And I don't usually click with a lot of YA books anyway. So back then, I tried reading Vicious and I loved it. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars rating. It was engaging, thought-provoking, and I still haven't read the sequels yet. I don't know whether I will enjoy them or not, but The Shade of Magic, that's a different experience. I really liked the first book. Well, not really like, I don't think that's precise, but I like A Darker Shade of Magic. I gave that a 3.5 out of 5 stars rating. A 7 out of 10, in my opinion, is still a positive rating. But after that, for the second book, A Gathering of Shadows and also A Conjuring of Light, I think the series took a downfall for me, and I don't think the series reached the maximum potential it could have reached. But I know that this is a very unpopular opinion, so that one is really, I think it can be considered a minus in my reading experience. So After that, there is also The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. When it comes to writing, The Night Circus is beautifully written. There is no doubt about that in my opinion. I really love the writing, but unfortunately, I think that's the only thing that I can appreciate about The Night Circus. Other than that, I'm not a fan of the book at all. It was boring and, well, everything about it just doesn't suit to my reading taste. I mean, it is atmospheric, I cannot deny that. But after a while, after like the first 100 pages, even though the description on the food was really delicious, but after the first 100 pages, it just doesn't appeal to me anymore. And I just couldn't wait to be done with the book. And after I'm done with it, I think I gave it a 2 out of 5 stars rating. But it's not all bad. There's 3 books, right? That's 3 series before I have my YouTube channel. So the other 2 series, I think the first one that I read, and I'm really grateful for this. And I know that this is kind of like an unpopular opinion in the Booktube circle because there were plenty of Booktubers trying to read this one, and none of them really click with this series. And this is The Chronicle of the Unhewn Throne series by Brian Staveley, the first trilogy that started with The Emperor's Blade. And then after that, the second book is The Providence of Fire. And then the last book is The Last Mortal Bond. Personally, I really love reading the first 2 books. And I read the trilogy because of checking out this YouTube channel, Best Fantasy HQ. I think that's the name of the channel. I will leave the link in the description down below. And I checked that short YouTube video, and my interest was really sparked because of that video. So I gave it a try, especially after seeing the US and the UK cover art. I gave it a try and I enjoyed it. I felt a bit disappointed with The Last Mortal Bond, but overall, I don't feel a regret in trying the series, especially after finally reading Skullsworn and of course The Empire's Ruin. I love the hell out of Skullsworn and The Empire's Ruin, and I cannot wait for the sequel to The Empire's Ruin, even though I don't think there is any news in sight for the sequel to The Empire's Ruin. But rest assured that whenever the sequel to The Empire's Ruin is out, I will be reading it for sure. Gwenna is one of my favorite characters in the fantasy genre, and I really love the Cattrall in the series. And yeah, I love it. And so I consider The Chronicles of the Unhewn Throne overall a plus. And I want to say thank you so much to the Best Fantasy HQ, even though I think the channel hasn't posted a new video in quite a while now, but I'm still thankful because that video posted, it made me start reading The Chronicles of the Unhewn Throne. And back then, trust me that even to this day, I think the series is still considered underrated and under the radar. And then finally, I have the Lightbringer series by Brandwicks. I read this series because of Peruse Project. Regan from Peruse Project, her passion and also her love for the series. I think back then, the first 4 books were out, I think. That's from The Black Prism up to The Blood Mirror. Yeah, those 4 books were out, and I read the series because of her. And this was, I think, in the year 2016. Yeah, I'm still very new to the entire genre of fantasy novels because just to clarify here, before starting to read fantasy novels, back then I only read manga. I still read manga, but now, as you know, I focus on reading fantasy novels as well. But yeah, anyway, back to the point. Back then, I saw Regan's passion for the Lightbringer series, and I know before reading the Night Angel trilogy, which I still haven't read to this day, before trying the Night Angel series, I know that I want to try reading the Lightbringer series by Brandwicks. And overall, I think I had a great reading experience, especially for the first 3 books. I was disappointed with the Blood Mirror and also the final book, The Burning White, but the first 3 books, I really enjoyed reading the first 3 books. The Black Prism and then The Blinding Knife. The Blinding Knife is included in one of my favorite books. And then also The Broken Eye. Yeah, those 3 books, I really enjoyed it. And I want to say thank you so much to Regan for the recommendations. So those 5 series, the 5 books or 5 series are back then in the year 2016 and 2017, back before I had my YouTube channel. And then I started my YouTube channel in the year 2000, I think in the year 2020. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, it was in the year 2020, September 2020, 4 years after after I had my Goodreads account. And now for the remaining 5 series I'm going to talk about, well, these are after I own a YouTube channel, this channel that you're watching right now. And by this point, of course, I already know my own reading taste, and I can kind of see the kind of books that would suit my reading taste. So for the first one though, I want to say that I took a gamble with this one. So this is recommended by L from Elliot Brooks. My friend L, I just want to say thank you so much for this recommendation. And this is for Spinning Silver by Naomi Novik. I think many of you know that I have a serious dislike regarding Uprooted by Naomi Novik. And after I checked the YouTube review by L regarding Spinning Silver, especially because she actually mentioned that she did not like Uprooted as well, but she loved the hell out of Spinning Silver, I decided to give it a try, and she's not wrong. This became one of my favorite standalone novels. I love Spinning Silver very much, and I hope Naomi Novik will write another standalone novel as good as Spinning Silver, because I certainly will read it. And yeah, so that's definitely a plus. But as I said, everything that I'm going to be talking about now is a positive to my reading experience, and I can only thank the booktubers that talk about them. And the next one, this is like a collective booktube, I guess, because so many people talk about this series, and this is the only indie fantasy series on this list. And this is about the Threadlight trilogy by Zach Argyle. Many people talk about this trilogy, especially saying that it is suitable to those of us who like reading Mistborn and also Stormlight Archive by Brandon Sanderson. But this is considered as a light version of Sanderson's books, and they are not wrong. I enjoyed the Threadlight trilogy. I think I gave all 3 books 4 out of 5 stars rating, so it was a very positive reading experience for me. I think I read this one in January or February, but it is definitely within this year. I even got a deluxe hardcover edition of it, and yeah, it is a beautiful edition. And Zach Argyle has been teasing about his next books. Let's just say that I'm very excited about his next series. And then the next one, in a similar situation to the Threadlight trilogy by Zach Argyle, this is for the Rook and Rose trilogy by M.A. Carrick. I remember, I think last year or 2 years ago, so many people talk about the Rook and Rose trilogy, and this year I tried reading Memoirs of Lady Trent by Mary Brennan, and I enjoyed it. It's still a good series, but I don't think I can say that I'm a huge fan of it yet. Maybe after reading the remaining 3 books in the series, maybe I can say that. I still don't know. I still have to read the remaining 3 books. But because I wanted a more epic in scope series, I just finished reading Labyrinth's Heart last month. And because of that, I tried reading the Rook and Rose trilogy. And yeah, I enjoyed it. I think The Liar's Knot and also Labyrinth's Heart, both of them were really good reading experience. Even though it's not perfect, there were some flaws that I had with the series, like one of them being that I think, personally speaking, I think the series is too long for its own good. I think we can certainly cut out some words and also some excess. But overall, it's still a good reading experience, especially Labyrinth's Heart, the 3rd book in the trilogy. It is a satisfying ending, and I look forward to reading whatever M.A. Carrick decide to write next. And then for the last 2 books, I think you will know this series because I talk about them. I think since last year, I've been talking about these 2 series so many times on my YouTube channel. And the first one, of course, it is the Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn trilogy by Ted Williams. Now, full disclosure, this series has been on my radar for many years, especially because so many people mentioned that this is the series that sparked George Martin, also Patrick Rothfuss, to write the Kingkiller Chronicle and also A Song of Ice and Fire. But it's not until I saw many booktubers talking about this series that, you know what, I think it is time for me to try reading the series, and I'm not disappointed at all. Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn trilogy became one of my favorite trilogy of all time, and now I'm enjoying the hell out of reading The Last King of Boston series. I just finished reading Brothers of the Wind, and I love that piece, that small piece of novel so much. It's 100,000 words long, but that's certainly a novel, not a novella, and I love The Brothers of the Wind so much, and I enjoyed The Witchwood Crown and also Empire of Grass. I only have Into the Narrow Dark and also the last book, the Navigator's Children to read in the Austen Art saga. And suffice to say that I love the entire Austen Art saga, and I even became the art director for Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn trilogy, the Broken Binding edition. I work on this edition with Jeff Brown and also Peng Lu, Christopher Chant, and also Mark Simonetti and Raphael Pina, plus Rachel St. Clair. And you can actually see it here, this one. I think Stone of Farewell will actually arrive at my place tomorrow, maybe. But yeah, I love the Austen Art saga, and I owe my gratitude to Booktube for that. But there is nothing that can compare my gratitude to this next series. I think you know what I will be talking about. This is the Sun Eater series by Christopher Rocchio. Before Booktube, before Mike from Mike Books Review actually reviewed The Empire of Silence, I had no interest in reading the Sun Eater series. I knew about the series ever since 2018. The publisher, I think, pitched this to me, the advanced reading copy, as The Name of the Wind meets Dune. And back then, I thought, that's so cliche. I bet that this is just a marketing device. That's what I thought in 2018 or 2019. I forgot. But after seeing Mike reviewed Empire of Silence, and I remember last year, I recommended The Bound and the Broken series to Mike, and he loved The Bound and the Broken. So on top of me being interested in the Sun Eater series after his review, I think it is time for me to try his recommendation, and it is spot on. The Sun Eater series is up there with the Red Rising saga by Pierce Brown as my favorite sci-fi series of all time. And so yeah, so as I said, after I have my Booktube channel, my TBR pile increased exponentially, and I think I can actually say that I know my reading taste, and I know the kind of books that will suit my reading taste. That's why I tried reading these recommendations. And speaking of recommendations, I'm now very interested in reading Dungeon Crawler Carl by Matt Dinniman because of Booktube as well, including the Gunmetal God series by Zamil Akhtar. So yeah, overall, I think it's not about whether Booktube can be trusted or not, but it's about finding the people that recommend you the books. It's about making sure that their tastes align with you. As I said in the beginning of this video, I know that should be obvious. It's not like these booktubers, these reviewers from Book Talk or maybe on Goodreads are lying to you. It's not that at all. It's just their tastes either align with you or not. It's simple as that. And for me, personally speaking, I think I've come to realize that some books, depending on who reviewed the books, will be suitable to me or not. I think I can judge that, not 100%, definitely not, but quite accurately. And I'm really satisfied with it. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it for today's video. Do let me know which books or series you read because of Booktube and which one you end up loving. I try to focus more on the positives reading experience because there are just so many negative stuff in the world every year, and I try to focus on the positive more rather than the negative. So yeah, let me know which books or series you read because of Booktube and you end up loving them. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it from me today. As always, thank you so much for watching and thank you for your support. Bye bye. Lastly, I want to say thank you so much once again to all my patrons who keep on supporting me.